the super speedway.
Welcome to episode 232 of... Damn it, 332, James. 332.
Start over.
Jesus.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the super speedway.
Welcome to episode 332 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, what I love the most is I can't see you when we do this. Of course, we record this remotely. I know it sounds so flawless to everybody that you can't imagine that we're not sitting in the same room.
Yeah.
But I hear things over the microphone.
Yep.
And I can picture you.
I have a quirk.
So one of your things is as we're getting ready to record, you rub your hands togetger.
Yep, I get the nervous energy out.
And the best part is that when we do a second take, because I screw up the intro, you do it the second time, and I love it.
Yeah, I get excited.
Yeah,
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah,
yeah. I have a nervous tick. That I just have to get this like burst of energy out. But you're super excited.
Yes, I'm very excited.
I'm very excited, and I have a question.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything while I was gone?
No, nothing happened.
No? I haven't been following the sport at all.
Yeah,
so.
Well, that's good. There's nothing to talk about. We're not going to talk about stuff this week that I already talked about last week when you were gone.
Oh, okay. Dang.
Nothing happened this weekend in Michigan. Nice, quiet, quick weekend.
I have so many opinions on things now, though.
Good. So do I.
I know where to go. So I listened to your episode last week.
Yes.
And I found myself, as you were talking, I kept wanting to jump in. But I think it's just because you and I have been doing this for, 332 episodes now.
But the question is, did you jump in?
In my mind, I didn't actually speak. I didn't speak it out loud.
I listened to yours in the car, and I did jump in.
Yeah, I was around people, so I kept my trap shut. But that's the thing is, you and I have a rhythm.
Yeah. And
we have a cadence. So when you would start to transition into your cadence, I'd be like, oh, wait, I want to get in there, and I can't. So
yeah.
You did good, man. You carried the burden without me. You came back from the Olympic break. You crushed it. Well done.
Thanks. I wouldn't know because I didn't listen to it. So
No, I wouldn't listen to mine either. So we're good.
Posted. It's gone. It doesn't exist. Yeah, I deleted the file. No, not really. I still have the file, but
I'll never listen to it. Pods hold a special place in my heart, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I don't want to say it was easy, but it wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be. So I don't want to do it.
You had plenty of content.
I want to do it. Yeah, exactly. There was plenty to talk about. That was the thing.
Yeah, you had plenty of content to work with. So.
And then there was more at the end of it. So.
Oh my God! Yeah, I know. You got the timing just right.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done a little bit better and had it at the beginning instead of at the end, but that's okay. Well, I pushed it to the last possible second too, man.
We know now that there's going to be some news tomorrow,
yeah.
And we're just going to go with it tonight.
Yeah,
we're just gonna wing it. So
yeah, I mean,
the hell with it.
Well, let's talk about the race first. But do you think
let's do it.
You don't think anything's going to change tomorrow, right? Hold it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I've been flip flopping on my thoughts now. Let's save it. Let's save it. Let's get through our home track here first.
Let's talk about the home track. I of course was in Michigan this weekend. Well, I'm always in Michigan most of the time, but I was at Michigan International Speedway this weekend for the NASCAR race. Didn't pull a bunch of audio for the show because I don't know. Most of the audio that I got was before the race. It's pre-race stuff. It's all on the superspeedway.com if you guys want to check it out there. There's some interviews on there with drivers, some driver audio, some stuff you have heard from others, some that you haven't. So check that out. And then pit road after the race yesterday was awful. It was so freaking windy, which Corey LaJoie learned how windy it was. But FireKeepers Casino 400 this weekend, 2-day race at Michigan International Speedway, started on Sunday, finished on Monday, and Tyler Reddick gets himself his second win of the season. Feels like it's more than the second win of the season because he's been up front so much, but finally finished another one, despite the fact that the NASCAR gods tried to take it away from him. But Tyler Reddick gets the win.
A couple of times.
Yeah. So
the NASCAR gods or the NASCAR tower?
Well, one or the other. Same difference, really.
Yeah.
James, overall, what did you think of the Michigan race? You watched it on television. I watched it in person / on television. But was it as good on TV as it was in person? Because I thought it was a pretty damn good race.
It was really good on TV. And I even listened to part of it on the radio.
Nice.
As well. So I had some MRN going because I was working. So I had to flex a little bit, and I was in a meeting, so I would.
I
have the
forget
race
it was Monday. People were working.
I
What the hell?
I know.
So I
which
shouldn't
love-
out you that you watched it at all.
No,
'cause-
it's okay. I love watching Monday races. So I had it on my phone for a while I was in a meeting, so I was watching it there, and then I had it on MRN, and then I got back to finish it. So
nice.
it was really really good. Man, this car, for all of its quirks and issues, this race car on these 2 mile tracks, 1.5 tracks is so good.
Yeah.
So good, so unstable, so fast. It was good on it was good on Sunday and Monday. I think the high winds on Monday made it a little bit more vulnerable.
It was
as Kyle
sketchy.
Larson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sketchy, and Michigan has been really good with this car. It's unfortunate that so many fans had to not be there in person, but yeah, really good show. NASCAR at Michigan's been top notch.
Yeah. It's so I asked a couple of the drivers about it this week because, we used to have 3 of these races on the schedule. We went to California once. We went to Michigan twice.
Shoot, at one time we had 4 of them on the schedule a long time ago. Yeah.
And now we go to a 2 mile, D-shaped oval one time. This is it. One race at Michigan.
Yeah.
So this race, and I asked, do you learn anything here? Is it similar to any of the other tracks, or is it its own thing? And pretty much the answer from everybody was it's its own thing. It doesn't translate to the 1.5 miles. Yes, the racing is better here, like it is on the 1.5 miles. But it's not. You're not learning a bunch of stuff for those tracks, and it doesn't translate to a super speedway either. So you're certainly not getting any. I mean, I guess maybe the biggest thing is the spotters are getting a nice warm up for Daytona next week. Because actually, I mean, they talked on DBC this week. They told Brett Griffin, who's going to spot Daytona for the first time in a while, that this is tougher than Daytona now. Because Daytona they kind of just ride for the most part.
Yep. Half throttle, as Carson Hocevar said.
Yeah, exactly. But this, I mean,
I would say now this is not a non-expert opinion. But when you see Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson all have really fast race cars and leading a lot of laps, there's correlation there between some of the 1.5 miles, because when we go to Kansas and Las Vegas, those are the guys who are up front. But but that being said too, like Tyler Reddick's kicking everybody's butt here since Charlotte. He's been on a tear. He's your points leader now.
Yeah.
He's good everywhere at this point. So I guess you could flip flop on that opinion as well. So,
yeah, I mean, at this point, he's got to be the favorite, right? I mean, he's leading the points and running well.
He doesn't have the win. He hasn't piled up the wins yet, but he's right there. So,
right.
I mean, gosh, if Larson would quit,
if he wins the regular season championship, he gets those extra bonus points. He's right in it.
Yeah, he's gonna be looking pretty. He's gonna be looking pretty good. I mean, Eric, he's been good everywhere. I'm looking at his finishing results, and if you go back to Charlotte, he's finished 4th, 8th. His worst finish is 22nd, and then it's 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st.
Yeah.
So, and then his starting positions have been really good. He only has one starting position out of the top 10 since Darlington in the spring. So he's that car, very fast. And, I would, bringing up Larson again, you've got a guy in Larson who's running 110% all the time and is getting himself in trouble.
Right.
He's either winning or wrecking. He's Ricky Bobby. And then you've got Tyler Reddick, who's just punching his way through, climbing the standings, knocking out top 5s and top 10s. He's kind of doing it the old school way. If this was the old point system, he'd be like that Matt Kenseth type, right? He's just plugging away, good finish every week. So
yeah,
it's been fun to watch. That team's really, Eric, we talked about 2311 way back when they started out, a handful of years ago now. We said it was going to take a little bit of time. This is the time. Like right now, they are legit championship contenders right here. So this is what they've been waiting for. This is why you go get Tyler Reddick.
Didn't MJ leave another race that they won too?
Talladega that Bubba Wallace won.
Yeah.
I think he left that one too. Yeah.
MJ was there on Sunday, but he didn't stick around for Monday.
I messaged our group chat because I was mad because I saw there was a picture of him at MIS.
Yeah.
So I was just infuriated that you didn't text me immediately and said, "Hey, the goat's here," and And so I texted you, and then our buddy Todd goes, "Oh, his presence. You can feel his presence." I'm like, "Oh, I bet you can. That's so great." I was right back in.
It's funny. I spend so little time in the garage and on pit road at Michigan. It's less than any other track I go to. Maybe because I've done it more times, but I spend so little time down there. I didn't have any idea he was even there until the race started and somebody mentioned that he was there. So,
Man.
otherwise, I would have made a swing by the pit box. I would have waited
know.
until the start of the race and made a swing by the pit box just to get a picture of him or something.
And tease me about it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess, there's so many storylines from this race. We talked about Tyler Reddick's win. Let's talk about the rain. We started the race, ran 51 laps before we threw the caution for the rain, or didn't restart from the end of the first stage. And it started raining. We got the track dry, just about ready to go. Well, no, first of all, we started late because of the rain. We got the track dried, ran 51 laps.
Yes, that's it.
And then rained again. And that was it. NASCAR calls it till Monday, 11 o'clock a.m. on Monday morning. Obviously, forecast is beautiful for Monday. I saw people post, why don't they just schedule it to Monday in the first place? Come on, people.
You can't do that.
No.
You
But
can't do that.
I was there I tried to get there for about 11 o'clock because there was an 11:30 announcement I wanted to be there for. I got there about 12:15 thanks to Michigan traffic. That's on my list later to discuss. But it was beautiful, James. It sprinkled on the way to the track, and then it was sunny and nice and great until pretty much the command to start the engines.
Eric, we've been living in Michigan our whole lives.
Yeah.
It's no different than any other summer Michigan day when there's rain in the forecast.
No.
You could tell me there's an 80% chance of rain, and then there'll be sunshine until
Well, not only that, but you're going to go, well, if there's an 80% chance it's going to rain today, I'll bet you it's going to start about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because it always does.
Yeah. Yep. Certainly does. I was when I was on vacation, I was in an area in Michigan where we had a day where it was 75% chance of rain all day.
Mm-hmm.
It did not rain until after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you just, especially when you're like us, you're up camping. You're like, is it going to ruin our day? No, it was actually a really nice day. And then you slept at night with the rain going. So yeah, that's Michigan, man. I hate to break it to you. That's how it goes.
I feel like I've declared on this podcast before that we weren't going to complain about start times anymore. And Dale Jr. talks about a little bit on his podcast this week too, and basically says that it's not NASCAR's fault. NASCAR has no say in this. With the money that they're getting from the TV networks have all the say. They pay enough money to dictate what time the race starts. NASCAR cannot do anything about that. And it's really easy to say, you know what, let's just suck it up and deal with it. But I'm going to say the opposite. I think you should bitch all you want about the start times. Make a huge deal, throw a fit, put it on social media, make sure you tag the networks, because you know what? If enough people complain, things will change. I get the whole more viewers in the afternoon and all this, the reasoning and whatever for it. But it just, first of all, it really starts to feel like nobody gives a crap about the people sitting in the stands. Nobody cares about the people there, because if
it's been that way for too long.
If I'm watching on television and the race rains out, whatever. It's a minor inconvenience. I plan to watch a race, I'll just watch something else. But if I'm at the track and the race rains out, that either means A, I can't stay to watch the race, or B, I have to spend another night in the hotel room. I'm a media member. I get into the track for free, and it cost me an extra $145 to stay till Monday because I had to get a hotel for an extra night. And so James, when I got a whole thing on this. So I grew up dreaming of going to NASCAR races, right? Yep. I got to go to Michigan once a year, twice a year for a little while, once a year for most of my, childhood. But I wanted to go to other tracks. That was my dream, is to go to other tracks. And it just doesn't feel like NASCAR cares about that dream anymore. The late start times are one thing. First of all, it's inconvenient as hell to leave then afterwards and get home after the race as well. because you get out so damn late. If one delay happens, you're now butting up against darkness, especially in August in Michigan. The NASCAR has a policy that allows them to move a race up to an hour earlier.
Yep.
24 hours in advance if they know the weather's going to be bad. Guess what? We all knew the weather was going to be bad on Sunday. Again, I get that's a network decision, but whatever. The traffic plans, it's not just Michigan either, but Michigan was awful this weekend. Absolutely awful. No effort to get people into that place. There was at least a little bit of a traffic plan leaving, but coming in, there was nothing. There were usually, you've been to MIS a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's 2 lanes coming in, 1 lane coming out on the way in the morning, and then halfway through the race, it shifts and it goes the opposite direction. There was none of that this year. The road was 2 lanes. It was 1 going toward the track, 1 coming out of the track, and we sat in traffic forever.
Why did they do that?
I have no idea, but it was insane.
Man, we have come a long way since Roger Curtis was fixing up all that mess.
Yeah,
and had
exactly.
down.
That's Roger Curtis had it perfect.
He did, Eric. When we were going in the early 2010s, it was perfection.
Yep.
And some of that, like, there was some pretty decent crowds still back then.
Yeah.
And we had
it
no problem getting
It wasn't
in.
what they're putting in there now again, but it was good. They were good crowds. It wasn't that much smaller than what we had. Well, I'll tell you what. The crowds then were better than what we had yesterday, and yesterday was still a disaster. So not only that, but the entry gates were terrible on Sunday, getting into the track. I didn't personally go out there, but I heard there were overhead shots of the race right before the engine was supposed to fire, and there were tons of people lined up at the gates couldn't get in.
There was, yep.
From my understanding, I assume it has to do with firearms because they were wanding everybody coming in. They had a firearm sniffing dog at the entry to the tunnel to the track that I had to drive through. Which, oh, by the way, Sunday I had a dog in my trunk of my car sniffing around for firearms.
Yeah.
Which not everybody did. I don't know why I was all of a sudden suspicious for that. Even worse, yesterday they only opened 1 gate. They opened gates at 10 o'clock for an 11 o'clock start. They only opened 1 gate. There were people lined up from the middle of the front stretch at the start-finish line where the gate is, all the way around turn 4 waiting to get in a half hour before the start of the race. Now, they did open a second gate about 15 minutes before the race started, and it was better, but there's still a ton of people waiting to get in.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane. And then there's other stuff. We're going to talk about the announcement of the Clash at Bowman Gray, which is going to be a super cold race at a very limited capacity stadium. It's all these things that are just saying we only care about the TV audience. We don't care about the person in the stands.
Yeah.
And the people on TV are the casual fans that just disappear. The people in the stands are the ones who pay all the money to come watch a race, and they're the dedicated people. And I don't want to I don't want to spend a ton of time on a rant here in the middle of the race discussion because there's a lot of good stuff to discuss.
No, it's good. It's good.
But my God, it just feels like
you can't.
It feels like they don't want us to be there. If I was a paying fan and I paid, I don't know what tickets are for Michigan anymore, but they used to be like $120 or something
like $120
for top level grandstand seats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you spend $120 a ticket. Let's say you're bringing 4 people to the race, and now it rains out Sunday, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to get that extra hotel, or I'm going to get the hotel room for the extra night and come back tomorrow. And then you come back and you can't even get in to watch the start of the race. Yeah. It's just a slap in the face, man. They might as well have put a sign out front that said, go home. We don't want you here.
It's a really good way to turn fans away from the sport. I mean, there's a ton of stories out there. You can find them. Little boys crying to their dad, not being able to come back. I mean, that's the stuff you see when you get rained out, and it's. Right. I understand the TV product's important and prime time's important, but here's where I wanted to come in on this conversation, Eric, and then we can move on real quick. Well, while we were on break, the Olympics was actually a really big deal, right?
I guess so. I didn't watch it, but
yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, it was a big deal, definitely in my house, and from what I've heard with other people, I mean, the Olympics were top notch.
I heard LeBron was really good for basketball.
Well, Steph Curry carried him, but it's fine. But NBC absolutely crushed the Olympic coverage, and here's how I consumed the Olympics. I knew that anytime I logged on to Peacock or the NBC app, there was going to be content for me to go and find from what I wanted to see. If I wanted to see basketball, that's great. My daughters were really into the gymnastics. I could go in and just get all of that content, and my eyeballs were on those sports constantly during the Olympics. I didn't care when their start time was. I didn't log in live, but you know when those sports were going live? Very early in the morning and into the early afternoon.
Right.
Every day. And it was the biggest talking point for 2 weeks because everybody had their eyeballs on the Olympics. And NBC did a phenomenal job delivering content in many different formats, not just the live format. And that's what we don't have with NASCAR. We just do not have a strong, like, I'll call it a strong satellite presence around the live event to go in and get your eyeballs on it in a very easy way at any time. You can start races at noon or 1 o'clock if you want to. You just got to put the effort in around that event so that people can come and tune in at the times that they see fit. Eric, you never watch live races, hardly ever, right?
Right.
I mean, it's more times than not, you're on the recording.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine, Eric, that's the way most people consume their content. You don't care what you don't care what time the race starts for the most part. You're gonna watch it later anyway. You're busy with your kids on Sunday.
Right.
We can go up against the NFL on a 1 o'clock at a track like Michigan, for example. If Michigan was in the fall, let's just use that as the example.
Right.
Michigan doesn't have lights. Run the damn thing early and consume us with all these different touch points. Come and get us on our phones. Come and get us on the apps on our TV. I don't want to log in to USA Network to watch this race. Just give it to me. You have all these outlets. Make it easy for me to pick whatever one I want. You can do that. You don't have to. You're already getting my money 7 different ways.
Right.
Give me the content. That's all.
Slap
I want.
a giant peacock logo on it and show it to me wherever.
Yeah, I was gonna have you were gonna have to bleep me out there for a second. I was gonna say put a giant peacock on the screen and give me my content. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like it's that hard. I don't understand what the problem is.
I'm
Start
hopeful.
the damn race and let's go.
I'm hopeful that a good chunk of the season next year is going to be streaming, and that we won't be trying to counter program stuff.
Amazon can start those things. Yeah.
You mentioned the NFL, and Dale Jr. talked about it on his podcast today, and I actually really liked his viewpoint on it. And his comment was, "Why do we keep running from the NFL?" Like, I get that the NFL gets a ton of viewers, and if those ton of viewers are tuned into NFL, they're not going to tune into NASCAR. But right now, we have conceded to the NFL and said, "You guys can do whatever you want to do." And guess what they're going to do? They're going to make their season longer. They're going to go into our Daytona 500. They're going to screw our season up more.
Yes.
Because we just keep letting them do it.
Dude, the NBA used to own Christmas Day.
Yeah.
NFL just came in and was like, nah, we want that.
Yep.
Oh, you guys have, you guys want to do something in the spring? We're going to put our draft here.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it a 3-day event now.
And by the way, there's 2 other major football seasons that are trying to get their piece of the pie the rest of the year. Like,
dude, the NFL is in attack mode right now.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap what your schedule is. The NFL is going to come and take it.
Yep.
Free agency, massive deal. Sucks all the energy out of baseball season.
Mm-hmm.
It's the NFL is
they're just crapping on everybody right now.
Dude, they're a 10-month a year sport going for 12.
Yep.
And the NBA gets a little bit of time, the NHL gets a little bit of time, and Major League Baseball gets a little bit of time, but they get short spurts. Baseball's only good in the fall when the playoffs are on. Same with the NBA, and you don't watch the NHL until it's Stanley Cup time. Right. It's the way it is. NASCAR's the same.
That's why the NHL puts a game on New Year's in the middle of a freaking stadium. That's why.
Dang right.
That's why the MLB is going to play a game at Bristol Motor Speedway. They're all trying to scramble for whatever little eyeballs they can get.
The NFL in the fall, you can't compete with any of it. It's NFL and it's college football, and you're just going to have to deal with whatever scraps you get left. That's the way it is. So, wow, good tangent.
Yeah,
done. I was wondering when we were going to talk about that.
Yeah, I probably should have scheduled it later because we still got a lot of race stuff to talk about.
Yeah, let's go.
We haven't talked about any of the race yet. I wanted to talk about. So first of all, you mentioned Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin loses it. This was early. This was day one of the
it was the
FireKeepers Casino 400. Denny Hamlin spins at the end of stage 1. Basically, it was lap 39. He turns himself around all on his own, racing behind. Who the heck was he behind? He was behind Bubba, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in
trying
that.
to catch Bubba,
Yep.
and Bubba basically took the air off the front of the car, which is hilarious because it used to be you take the air off the rear. Took the air off the front, and around Denny goes, spinning through the grass, and it ruined Denny's weekend.
He rallied.
Yeah,
but
he rallied, but there was a lot of work. He spent a lot of time on pit road, fixing that car, fixing the underbody of that car. Fortunately for him, he wasn't as bad as like Josh Berry, who was god awful in this race, who still also managed to come back 22nd. But yeah, Denny gets a top 10 finish out of it because he's Denny Hamlin. Finishes in ninth, but so he's our first spin of the weekend, and then we end the stage and we rain and move to Monday, and then Monday, James, Bubba Wallace I think had one of the best cars. He certainly had one of the best cars on Sunday. I don't know if that translated fully to Monday. He made it. The move he made to get the lead and the win in stage one was incredible.
Oh my God, that was I retweeted the Cars gif of Lightning McQueen doing the exact same move.
Yeah,
it was like art imitates life. But I also tweeted out like that was one of the great hauling ass moments I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like he was it was awesome. What a pass!
I was literally typing on my computer about the battle, and all of a sudden here goes Bubba Wallace just right by the two of them, and I'm like, holy hell, where did he come from?
I don't think I've ever seen that move at Michigan. I've seen millions of laps at Michigan. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get that kind of run going into turn one.
Well, that
on two cars.
That move gave me hope. I'm like, okay, so they're still riding quite a bit here. Like they're not. There's room to make runs here that we haven't seen yet. They're not exercising yet. So that was pretty interesting. And then we restart the race on Monday morning. And James, Bubba gets taken out by some hack driver. Don't you just hate these hack drivers in the middle of the field that just get in everybody's way?
Self-proclaimed greatest driver in the world.
Right? I mean, come on. Yeah. Kyle Larson loses it on his own, takes Bubba with him, takes Joey Logano with him, takes Christopher Bell with him.
Chris Buescher was in that.
Chris Buescher was in it, although he rallied pretty well coming back.
He did rally. Yep. Chase Briscoe.
Yeah. Just that certainly bad timing for Kyle Larson to
I know
to do it on the week he proclaims himself the best driver ever. But
can we just
he's not wrong, by the way. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. No, I agree with him 100%. And he wins more open wheel races than somebody else even races.
That's true. So, that's also true.
Let me just say what he's doing. I know what he's doing. I have him figured out.
Yeah.
He doesn't care at a points race. He's only racing for wins in the regular season. He's not points racing at all anymore. He's just out there.
You're right.
He's just out there, just all hell.
Yeah.
All hell broken loose.
I think that's what you got to let Kyle Larson do do. I mean, that's what he does in a sprint car. He's used to racing those types of races.
He can rein it in. We've seen him rein it in before. I don't even worry. Honestly, I don't even worry about him.
Save that for the playoffs. Save the reining in for the playoffs.
Yeah, if he's gonna go hard, go hard, and if he's crashing, well, what the hell's the difference?
Yeah,
he led the most laps on the day, so we knew he had speed. Knew he was there.
I mean, if there was any question as to how difficult these cars are to drive, to have two of the best drivers in the sport lose it in the same spot all on their own on two separate days, that kind of shows you how tough it is. And these cars, again, we've talked about this since this car came out. Once you slip, you're gone. There is no saving this car.
And that air is so volatile.
Yeah. Especially when you've got 30 mile an hour gusts.
30 mile an hour winds. You got cars on all sides of you.
Yeah.
You are in a twister for the most part. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's. Yeah. What are you going to do? He lost it.
Yeah.
He's got to own it. He'll be all right.
Yeah. He's fine. No problem.
Yep.
No problem for Larson.
No problem. He'll be fine.
Somebody else spun in this race. And took flight. Corey LaJoie gets airborne.
Trying hard not to drive straight down the backstretch. I can't quite figure that video out.
Yeah, so the very first replay I looked at it, I'm like, did he try to wreck Noah Gragson and just flip his own car over?
I think he just lost it.
I think he just lost it.
It was really weird.
He made the move, and Gragson moved a little bit, but I don't even know if Gragson actually moved. I think the car might have just moved because of the air. And they just touched and gone. I mean, that car was gone.
Gone. And I think I would have to imagine that those wind gusts, while he was still pointed the right direction,
Right.
still we're pushing that car around a little bit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that's why you see it. You see him go left, and then the car bobbles right, and he just overcorrects it. I mean, it just goes. There was nothing he could do.
So first of all, a lot of shock from people that his car got airborne. I don't know why, because another car did it pretty much in the same tire tracks the day before. Like, they hit in the wall in the same spot, and they hit the grass in the same spot. Obviously, one was pushed versus Corey LaJoie, who spun on his own. So there's that. And then I've said a long time that I can't believe more cars don't get airborne at Michigan, because it's the fastest track in NASCAR.
Well, we've got a good sample size this weekend.
Yeah, they go faster there than they do at Daytona and Talladega. They have for a long time.
Yeah, I saw a still image of 206 going into turn 1 at some point. So that's definitely the fastest we've been there, in a while.
Yeah, it's not the 220 they used to do, but it's still pretty damn fast.
Yeah, people talking about that 2014 aero test.
Yeah. Well, I
Or you're
mean, and that's the
pushing
thing too. Like, okay, you're doing. You said 206 into the corner into turn 1, so let's just argue he's doing 195 on the backstretch, and now you've got wind gusts of 30 miles an hour, 25, 30 miles an hour coming the other direction. You're basically going, 220 miles an hour when you get backwards because of that wind, or sideways. I guess he didn't even get backwards. He just got sideways and the car lifted off the ground. The other thing is, James, and again, everybody was shocked last year when Ryan Preece did it at Daytona, but you have a car that now is more aerodynamic and more set up to stick to the racetrack than any other car that we've ever had. It's basically an airplane wing to stick it to the ground. What do you think happens when you take that perfect thing and turn it the other direction?
Yeah,
it's going to lift, right?
Yep.
I mean, and I know there's a lot of, Jeff Burton says this is unacceptable, basically calling for NASCAR to fix it.
Cars are always going to flip, Jeff. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, first of all, they don't need to get airborne to flip. They can do it without getting airborne. Ask Chris Buescher. He did it at Charlotte. But second of all, Denny said in the post-race press conference, he'd rather flip than hit the wall like he did at Richmond.
Yeah.
And he's got a point. The only concern I have, first, I've got no issue with the car. We don't want to see him going airborne every week. But the only concern that I have with airborne cars is catch fences. Because one, the fences do a lot more damage to a car, and unpredictable damage, than the wall does or a concrete racetrack. And the other thing is that catch fence is usually protecting fans behind it. So we don't want cars hitting the catch fence. I wouldn't be surprised to see them put a little bit more pavement down at the end of the backstretch at Michigan so they don't hit the dirt and flip.
Yeah.
But even that, Corey flipped twice as a result of that. So
I have one more concern, and I want to see if you agree with
Yeah.
me. We talked about Ryan Preece, and remember when that car started to bounce? And it seemed like it was picking up velocity as it bounced, like kind of like a basketball bouncing down the driveway. It's like, oh my god, that thing's picking up speed.
because it doesn't bend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw on a smaller scale when LaJoie hits the grass, that car bounced again, and it looked like it velocity
They
picked up
don't
again.
bend.
I know, it bounces like a Matchbox car.
Yep.
But I was just curious. Yeah, I was curious to see if you noticed that as well.
Oh,
because
yes.
That's the thing I noticed. I'm like, God dang, that car. We go to Talladega and the car starts doing that again. It's
We're going to Daytona
hurt
next
somebody.
week.
I know.
And I will say, good on Michigan. They've had asphalt down the backstretch forever.
Yeah.
And we don't see them get airborne there very often. Really weird to see it happen 2 days in a row. But certainly wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to see a car flip this weekend at all, let alone two of them. The other thing is Junior talked about it in his podcast. I hope NASCAR doesn't overreact and try to fix this. I don't think there's anything there that needs to be fixed unless, again, this starts happening every week. Please don't slow the cars down. Please don't put restrictor plates on them. We did that on Saturday, and guess what? A car still got airborne.
Yeah, I know. It's going to happen.
Race
cars go airborne, man.
Yeah, it's just going to happen. Airplanes take off at 160 miles an hour, like jetliners that are filled with people.
Yeah.
A race car is not that heavy compared to that and going faster. So they're going to lift sometimes. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's, I don't know.
The other slight moment of potential controversy in this race. What was it? 5 to go, something like that. That Martin Truex Jr. hits the wall. Caution comes out.
The quickie caution.
Caution comes out, potentially ruining Tyler Reddick's victory. He basically had it locked up. I was standing in the corner of the press box ready to head down to pit road because nothing was changing. And all of a sudden I see the yellow lights flashing. What'd you think of this caution, James? There was a lot of talk that there was a crash earlier in the race with Austin Cindric that probably should have been a caution and wasn't.
He didn't get the caution, yeah.
What'd you think of the Truex caution?
Yeah, goes back to our conversation of our cautions for safety. Are they for our entertainment?
Right.
That was an entertainment flag, in my opinion. NASCAR wanted to get those restarts going, so
I have a different take on this.
Yeah, that was my opinion. But
so here's my take. As being there this weekend, I got to experience it a little bit differently. And I know you've been there and stuff, and other people have been to races. But Michigan's a 2-mile racetrack. It's a big racetrack. And our position in the press box is literally 20 feet away from NASCAR race control. So we have the exact same view as NASCAR race control does.
Yep.
Corey LaJoie flipped down the backstretch on Monday at Michigan. I was sitting at my desk. I was watching the race out the window, looking around the track. I tend to watch the race as a race director versus a fan. Having been a race director, I don't tend to follow a car around the track anymore. I kind of watch everywhere. It's just a habit you pick up and that you can't get rid of. And sometimes it's really annoying. But I looked up and I just caught out of the corner of my eye a car spinning down the inside of the backstretch. A black car spinning to the inside of the backstretch. And I thought, oh, that looks weird. Why does that look weird? And then I glanced up on the TV in the corner and saw that it was upside down. Michigan's a big track, and I realize that they have more than one person watching the track.
That's a good point.
Sometimes you just are going to miss stuff, and maybe, just maybe, when Austin Cindric spun, nobody was looking at it. By the time they looked at it, he was straight and good to go, and so why throw a caution then? He's good. And when Truex went up the track to hit the wall, somebody happened to be looking at it and said, well, throw the caution, and then it didn't end up being anything. So I don't know. I guess seeing it from that point of view gives me a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt for NASCAR, maybe it just happens. And not to mention, Truex is running up front. Austin Cindric's running God knows where. So where are they paying attention to? They're paying attention to the front of the field. So
exactly. Yep.
Not only that, but we just bitched a podcast ago, a month ago, that they didn't throw the caution for Ryan Preece at Indianapolis. So they can't win. They can't win.
Yep. Yep. I know. Yeah.
I was okay with it. I honestly, James, I didn't even see the accident until about 5 minutes before we recorded the podcast because I didn't even see a replay or anything.
Yeah, so. It's tough, man. Like NASCAR's always in a tight box. We can't keep complaining about consistency and all these things. Like it is what it is. These flags are going to come out, especially they always have a quick trigger finger towards the end of races. It just seems to be that way. So
right. It's even like the rain stuff. Like I'm in the press box next to NASCAR. I'm doing the same thing as they're doing in the press box going, is it raining out? Is it raining out yet? It looks like rain, but it's not. I don't know if it's raining. So they're radioing around the track to different officials trying to find out if it's raining. Credit NASCAR. It sounded like they had somebody on the north end of the parking lot at MIS telling them the rain was starting, so they knew to not restart the race. So yeah, it's just, it's a 2-mile racetrack. It's huge. I don't know how they spot debris. Like even standing next to the track, there's only a certain amount that you can see. So we sit there and say, well, if they had a spotter in every corner, 4 spotters is not going to cover Michigan International Speedway.
Right.
So
yeah, there's not much you can do. I don't. Theoretically, I don't have a problem with it. I thought the restarts were.
I'm good with the fun flag, though, James.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine if they bring back the caution clock, for God's sakes.
Man, we bang the drum for SRX, so the fun flag is fine.
Fun flag is acceptable.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the end of the race was a lot more interesting. Not for Ross Chastain.
No. No. Did you see the video of him pulling back up on the track and Denny Hamlin throwing a fit?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the field's going by under yellow, and Ross is just like, he's like, yeah, screw it, I'm going up. And like spins the car, and Denny's like, what the F is he doing?
It's the Ross
It's
Chastain
really
don't
good.
give an F
That's
tour.
Ross Chastain. That's why he drives a bright orange car, so you can see him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he officially on the commercial this week, or on the social media account, he picked the peach too, James. He didn't go for the watermelon. He picked the peach.
He's going through a divorce or something.
Yeah.
with the melon. Yeah.
I know it's stupid, but I actually really like that whole campaign. I think it's funny. I'm sure you hate it, but I think it's funny.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine. He always has a look on his face like he doesn't want to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, it is what it is. Ross Chastain ends up 25th. It hurts him in the points, for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah. He's the points are interesting. Yeah, a couple guys in the hunt.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out tomorrow if another driver's in the hunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, get close. Ross is in good shape. Kind of.
He's
Bubba's
he's +1, right?
Yeah, he's +1. He's in. Bubba's the one who really got hurt because he had a great day and
we're talking a top 5 car guaranteed.
Yeah, and he's been on a really good run lately too.
Yeah. And then Kyle Busch made a great, valiant attempt to try and win this race with a 2-tire pit stop that put him out in front of the leaders, but just didn't have enough in that car to hold him off. Yeah. Kyle Busch is a great driver. You can certainly mirror drive. It's a lot tougher to do at Michigan than some other tracks, and he just couldn't do it enough to keep those guys back.
Well, he's got a couple more cracks at it.
Yeah.
He's not done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt him.
I wouldn't. I sure as heck wouldn't doubt him. I wouldn't doubt any RCR car at a restrictor plate track.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
If there's 2 cars in front of him,
yeah, well,
you wouldn't doubt him.
Well, I mean, technically only one car. He just has to get the one in front of him and the one behind him.
Yeah.
So, any other storylines worth jumping out on this? I mean, obviously we talked about Tyler Reddick takes the points lead. William Byron got to had lane choice on the last restart, which Tyler Reddick was upset about when Chastain spun. Byron ended up getting the choose. Byron picks the outside, regretted picking the outside, but doesn't know if the inside would have been any better. So
I think it came down to the pusher.
Yeah,
and Ty Gibbs pushed the hell out of that 45.
Yeah, and I think Ty Gibbs, maybe 20% of that was, I'm going to push the Toyota guy, and the rest of it was, I'm going to push this guy and pass the sucker because I'm going to win this race.
Brad was on a different strategy. He was playing games.
Well, and Brad sputtered.
He did. He said that.
Yeah, Brad said on pit road something sputtered in the car.
Which is funny because the restart before the last restart, Brad was good.
Yeah.
He got the 24 out front.
Right.
And
it looked like he just hit the brakes. I mean,
yeah, he didn't have it on that last one, and Ty Gibbs just pushed the 45 with everything he had.
Yeah.
So
Kyle Busch still manages to get a 4th place finish out of this one with the strategy. It was a good deal for him.
Yeah, the 2 tires really was a good call.
Yeah,
got them in a good spot.
Definitely. I mean, still he's got to win to get in at this point. Points aren't going to do it for him.
Before we get out of here, we should say Spire Motorsports.
Yeah.
2 cars.
Yeah.
In the top 10.
Yeah.
Legitimately in the top 10. Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar.
Yeah. Hocevar was
first time they've ever done that.
I didn't even see Zane Smith. He just came out of freaking nowhere to finish 7th.
Yeah, Zane Smith's pretty good.
Hocevar was good all day. Talked to him before the race weekend and asked him
some laps.
Asked him if he prepared any differently for Michigan. It's his home track. Said not really, but the team did. Ziegler Automotive on the car. They're from Michigan, so big race for them. So good for him to get a top 10.
Yeah, all the Michigan guys showed pretty well.
Yeah.
Eric Jones,
Yeah.
but still ended up top 16 at the end of the day. So
yeah,
that's pretty decent for how bad that 43 car's been pretty much all year. So
right. Yeah, things have gotta turn around for him, right? I mean,
they'll get better. Yeah, they'll get better. They're early yet.
There's no way. So he talked in the media center on Saturday, and he was asked a little bit about his contract and whether he shopped around, and he basically said the team gave him permission to look around, and he did. Didn't have any real serious conversations with anybody. Felt like that was his best opportunity, and I mean, it makes sense because I mean, where else are you going to go? You're going to go to Spire.
There's not a lot of room. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not enough options for him that are better options than where he's at. You've got to think that full TRD support is going to pay off at some point with that team.
Yeah,
it's got to, right?
There. Yeah, stick with Jimmy and ride this thing out.
They just made a bunch of organizational changes, so that should, you would think, be a step in the right direction. So
yeah, they're really in the first year of a rebuild, and that
true.
sounds crazy, but the Toyota thing is a whole new thing for them. They gotta get their. I remember when Stuart Haas switched over to Ford, and it was a really weird season for them, and Kevin Harvick was not good, and they had Boyer in there, and it's just the team did not look right. And then 2018 come around, and Harvick was a monster again, and he remained a monster until pretty much the last season he was driving. So things can turn around quick if you stick with it. I kind of like the strategy here. Just stick with it. Let's see what happens. We'll get this team running up front.
Right. Other notable drivers, we mentioned Chris Buescher was able to rebound for a 6th place finish after his being involved in the Kyle Larson accident. Ryan Preece with 11th place finish. Noah Gragson 12th place finish. Great run for those guys. Stenhouse avenges his ruining of the Richmond race with a 13th place finish. Harrison Burton 14th. Good run for him. Chase Elliott ends up 19th. Ryan Blaney ends up Chase Elliott winds up 15th. Ryan Blaney ends up 18th after their contact on the last lap.
Not happy with each other.
Not happy with each other. Josh Berry, like I said, comes back to 22nd. He was god awful, absolutely awful. Early in this thing, I mean, just terrible. It was so slow. Rick Ware was beating him. I mean,
I know
he was getting smoked by Cody Ware.
Yeah, Cody Ware. Yeah,
but So, anything else with the Michigan Cup race? We were kind of all over the place.
No, that was really good. Probably our longest race recap of the season.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to get to. It was, again, I think one of the better Michigan races we've seen in a long time, even with the rain.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting, compelling day all day. I didn't want it to end, and that's unusual for Michigan, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's been good the past couple of years. It's been good.
Zane Smith, highest finishing rookie with the 7th place finish. Tyler Reddick, 10 points over Chase Elliott with the points lead right now. This was Tyler Reddick's 7th victory in 170 Cup Series races. Another notch on the belt of 23-11 as they make a run toward the championship this year.
Yep, absolutely.
NASCAR Xfinity Series was in action, feels like forever ago, but it was Saturday, the Cabo Wabo 250. Justin Allgaier gets the win and a green-white checker finish in this one. Sheldon Creed, another 2nd place. 11 second places now for Sheldon Creed.
He's the record holder.
He is. Man, was I cheering for him. I wanted to see. I wish the last lap would have played out, and we wouldn't have had a car on its lid. But I don't know. It was. I don't think Creed had anything for him. I don't think he was catching him. So, NASCAR did run the super speedway package on the cars. Whoa, are you good over there, James?
I'm good. I knocked my microphone down. I am good.
Do we have to
continue on?
I don't have to call the ambulance, right?
You don't have to call the ambulance. I went to reach for my mouse and I knocked my mic down. I'm good.
All right,
You're good.
I was worried about you there.
That should be good on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I'm leaving it. I'm not taking it out.
Good. Don't take it out. Let's go.
Yeah, so we ran a super speedway package on the Xfinity cars. For some reason, I have no idea, because this race is always good at Michigan. Why in the hell they tried to ruin it with this package? Everybody was excited, saying it was going to be another Atlanta. And then, James, the green flag flew for the start of this race. And I thought that they waved the start off. They took off so slow. It was just pathetic how slow they took off. Yeah. And then they all went immediately single file, top lane, and just ran like that. And I'm like, what in the hell are we doing here? This is a joke. And we did learn later in the race that you could get some runs and you could make passes, but it still was not what this race usually is. Just, I put in the notes, NASCAR, they need to, if they're going to make Michigan a super speedway, because they've been trying to make Michigan a super speedway for years, put some banking in the thing or give up.
Yep.
Because that's the only thing that's going to happen.
Or repave it again.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Please don't. Please, God, don't do that.
I know.
Although they're doing a much better job of paving tracks now, so maybe that is what we need. But
yep.
But we did, while it didn't race like a super speedway, it did wreck like a super speedway. We had 3 wrecks at the end of the back straightaway. We had Riley Herbst, who his spotter cleared him, and man, I feel sorry for that spotter this weekend because he was not clear,
Right.
not even a little bit, and turned right in front of Ryan Sieg and wrecked hard on the backstretch. We talked about the Kyle Sieg incident, took out Carson Quapple, who was really good in this race as well. Did you get to watch this one, James? Did you?
No, I was traveling, unfortunately, on Saturday. So all I saw was the flip, and then I saw the last little bit of the highlights. So
It was craziness, but it wasn't good racing at all. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Justin Allgaier gets the win in this one. I will say, so here's the controversy from this one. The race, caution comes out at the end of the race. It starts raining. Long cleanup. It was, I forget who the heck hit the wall. Kyle Weatherman. Kyle Weatherman hit the wall in turn 1, and he hit it a freaking ton. Took a while to clean up the wreck, and started raining. NASCAR brings cars down on pit road, and we go red for a rain delay to dry the track to run overtime, James.
yeah, I know.
And a lot of people were really upset about this because why are we in a rain delay under overtime? Well, technically, folks, we were not in overtime yet. When they stopped the cars on pit road, there were 2 laps to go. Of course, there was really 1 lap to go because they just had to cross the start-finish line for 1 to go. But it was not technically overtime. However, we went into overtime. We spent time drying the track. We went into overtime. We restarted the race. We flipped a car on the backstretch, and the same guy won the race that would have won the race had we just called it.
Yep.
Was it the right decision or not?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
too.
it was.
I'm with
it
you.
was. You got to finish the race.
If you got the window and you can get it in, finish the sucker.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
my
ever
thought.
want the Cole Custer thing at Chicago that first year where you didn't even really, there wasn't even really a race,
Right.
they just kind of ran it, and you don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm happy with the decision. I thought it was a good choice.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that we wrecked a car and put one on its lid, but
But
that happens. That's a green white checker finish. Get rid of green white checkers if you
yeah.
want to fix that.
it's gonna happen. Yep.
But I don't want to get rid of green white checkers, so there you go.
Right.
And that's it. That's Michigan International Speedway for the weekend, James.
Wow.
Somehow we are through it.
We did it. And now we've got an hour and a half's worth of news.
Yeah. Before we do that, though, real quick, 25th victory for Justin Allgaier in 459 NASCAR Xfinity Series races. Leland Honeyman in 12th place was our highest finishing rookie. And Cole Custer is your points leader, 12 points over Justin Allgaier.
I think that puts Justin Allgaier, did I see this right, 4th all time in
I
Xfinity Series
believe that
wins?
is correct.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
A lot of guys have come through that series. A lot of guys have stayed for a long time.
Yeah. He's been there for a while, but he's been in a good car for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's there. He could have won a lot more.
Oh yeah, he could have.
There's
Yeah,
definitely
he's let
some
a lot of
races
them
he's
get
given away. Yeah.
Yep, he's given a lot of them away.
Yep. All right, let's jump in the time machine and go back a week, James.
do it.
Richard Childers Racing is appealing Austin Dillon's penalty from Richmond. That appeal happens tomorrow, as we're recording this episode on Wednesday. We kind of already hinted at it. What do you think? Do you think they got a case, James? Are they gonna? Is NASCAR gonna NASCAR's not going to overturn this, but is the appeals panel going to overturn this penalty? Is Austin Dillon going to get his
Man.
playoff spot back?
I have gone back and forth on this, and I am leaning at the moment towards NASCAR will win the appeal.
Yeah.
But I am not confident at all. And I think the reason I'm not confident, because I haven't had a chance to speak to you about this. So.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about this at all.
But the reason I think Austin Dillon has a really good chance here is NASCAR did not have a rule for this in place at that time. So does the appeals board say, well, there was really no rule here, you can't punish him for something that doesn't exist, or do they set the precedent of this is now how this is the breaking point, this is the law? I would like to see the appeals board do that and strip that playoff eligibility away, but I'm not confident that's the way it's going to be. But I do think NASCAR will win this appeal.
I would love to see the appeals panel destroy actions detrimental.
Yeah.
I hate that rule.
Yeah.
Because it's just a catch-all.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what this. You're right. There's no rule that specifically says you can't do this. And I guess it comes down to a couple things for me. One, I haven't personally looked at the SMT data. If the SMT data shows,
I did.
Does he legit like? Oh, so the way Denny Hamlin described it in the post race press conference,
Denny was truthful.
Denny says, and I believe Denny.
Yeah.
Denny says that he hits Logano, he turns left to avoid Logano, he straightens out, and then turns left again.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what the bar graph shows.
Okay, because I personally think it's the Denny Hamlin contact that is the reason that he's.
I do too.
It's not Joey Logano.
No, the
We've
Logano
seen that
contact
move
isn't the
so
problem.
many times before.
Yeah.
It's the hook on Hamlin. So in that case, then I don't think he should win the appeal.
Yeah.
But
There has to be punishment for hooking, and we've seen much. I don't know what's worse, being suspended for a race or losing your playoff eligibility. I guess it's pretty fair,
Right.
Either way, but we've seen guys get suspended for this maneuver.
yeah.
So
Do you think Austin Dillon is trying to right hook Denny Hamlin into the wall, or is Austin Dillon just trying to interfere with Denny Hamlin's progress? I think he's trying to interfere with his progress. I think he's trying to make contact anywhere. He's not trying to wreck him. He's trying to hold him back.
I don't think Austin had the time to wait on him to hook him. It's just that was the result of a very hard contact. Like he was gonna either drive him into the grass or what happened.
So if you're Jerry Jordan, you believe you have mapped out in GPS the distance and timed the amount of time that it takes to react and determined that one of the 40 best stock car drivers in the world cannot react fast enough to make that decision.
You mean one of the people who has probably one of the best reaction times in the entire world because they're race car drivers? And that's what they do?
Yeah. My argument is, James, I have won so many video game races with this move.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done this many times, and
Yeah.
if I have the reaction time to do it, I think Austin Dillon does. Sorry, Jerry.
I know.
I think Joey's right.
Well, and the spotter.
And if you haven't seen the video, look at Jerry Jordan's account because he tweeted it out.
He's on one. I don't even want to give him the light of day.
No, don't look at Jerry Jordan's account. Never mind.
The optics of the spotter yelling "wreck him," whatever that led to, but the optics
I
of it
don't
are
like
not
that
good.
penalty. I hate that's the one I hate. I think they should have appealed that.
Let me ask it to you in this instance, Eric. You're a fan in the stands, all right, and you scream for your driver to wreck somebody.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine. That's fair game, right?
Right.
You're on the clock as a journalist.
Yeah.
Are you cheering for that? Are you screaming for it? What are you doing? You're a journalist, right? You're on the job. Spotter, I consider
Not out
that to
loud, but
be
that's not
on
my
the
job to
job.
talk.
I understand that, but the spotter's kind of being on the job. He's not.
I don't like people
don't know.
being penalized for saying stuff on the radio.
That's fair. I don't disagree with you.
I think
so
much is said. So much is said in the heat of the moment on the radio that I
agree with that as well. Yep.
It bothers me. I think they should have appealed that.
Let me ask you it this way.
But
then,
I
'cause
think
maybe that
RCR
wasn't-
got Brett Griffin to sit in the to spot
Yeah.
3 races for him, and they're like, hey, we probably came out on the right end anyway. So.
Well, and maybe my analogy wasn't the best one, but let me ask you this: spotter says "wreck him" on the radio versus spotter saying, "Hey, I think your arm's itchy" on the radio. Are they close? Or are they distant?
Did Brett Griffin get suspended? Because I don't think he did.
Probably not, but some crap happened.
I agree, but I don't believe Brett Griffin got suspended.
Yeah.
So
For the itchy arm situation.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think it's different.
I understand, but this is hard because you're manipulating the race.
Did Chad Knaus get suspended when he told William Byron? He told to wreck somebody at Watkins Glen and he destroyed the front of his car as a result.
Oh yeah, you better wreck that guy.
Yeah.
I think he told that to Jimmy. No, remember when my favorite Chad Knaus. Now I'm on a tangent. When he told Jimmy Johnson that he had to back the car into the wall on the burnout.
That too. He didn't get suspended for that.
Yeah. He's been suspended for plenty of things.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to give you thinking points, but it's suspending
it's failing is what it's doing.
Well, I know. I don't know if I agree with suspending the spotter either, but I think what happened is when Richard went into that press conference and said that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think that ticked some people off, and
Probably
the spotter was screwed
Probably.
from that point. So
James, really quick, because I don't want to spend a ton of time on this week. I spent a ton last week, but really quick, because you haven't had a chance to make your say on this podcast. Good with the penalties in the end. You happy with what NASCAR did? Was that the right decision?
Yeah. Well, we were messaging before the penalties were announced, and that was actually what I said in our group chat was, give him his win if that's how he wants to win. Just don't let him be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that. I think that's fair. I mean, if you're going to race as dirty as that looked and as dirty as that was, I mean, there should be a punishment for that. It should be a detriment for other drivers to do that.
Having the extra week to think about it.
Give him his win and take his playoff eligibility.
See, having the extra week to think about it, I feel like if you're penalizing him, take the win away. Just take the win away. You solve the problem. All the problems are solved if you take the win away. Not only that, but Denny Hamlin finished second.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin deserves those points for winning that race. He technically won that race.
Yeah.
So give Denny the points. Take him away from Austin Dillon.
And you know, it's tough. Like, you have to wear that scarlet letter either way.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, he's definitely. I mean, everybody knows in the garage what he's willing to do.
Yeah, either you take it away or you don't. But either way,
I think he should have had the win taken away. Denny should have benefited from it. And yes, it still sucks for Joey Logano, but yeah, I mean, whoever was in second place should have gotten that win.
What happened to Joey was
fair game.
I mean, it was dirty, but it wasn't the most dirty thing I've ever seen.
Is there a worse time ever to announce an exhibition race at Bowman Gray Stadium in the Cup Series?
Oh my God, that was my tweet.
Then the week after you suspended a driver, or not suspended a driver, but penalized a driver for wrecking somebody on the last lap.
That's what I tweeted. I said the week they penalize a driver for driving like an ass, they go to a place where everyone drives like an ass. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, that being said, I think NASCAR should pay extra bonus for creating chaos at Bowman Gray. That's what Bowman Gray is.
That's all Bowman Gray is.
It's a show. That's what it is. Let's have it be a show.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, too good, man. That's great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Ben Kennedy announces
going to be the favorite, that's for sure.
Ben Kennedy announces the 2025 Clash will be at Bowman Gray Stadium February 2nd, 2025. I already mentioned it in my complaining about not appreciating the fans in person. What are your thoughts on the Bowman Gray announcement, James?
Are you going to go?
No.
Are you interested?
If it wasn't going to be probably ridiculously expensive and very hard to get a ticket, yeah, I'd probably try to go.
It's going to be cold as crap.
It's going to be cold, but, people go watch the Winter Classic in the freezing weather. People watch football in the freezing weather. Who cares, right? I mean,
we were at Bristol and it snowed one time. I remember that. Yeah.
It's not going to be a real fan-friendly event, probably weather-wise, but yeah, I'd go. I'd go in a heartbeat.
I think people who love NASCAR or respectfully follow the sport on a fairly well, like we do, right? We love that. I mean, it's our favorite.
This race is the opposite of the Coliseum.
Yeah,
the Coliseum was here. Let's take this race and bring it to the casual fan that knows nothing about NASCAR, and build a track. And this is let's take an existing historic racetrack in NASCAR and do it for the diehard fans.
About 15 years ago, I don't even know how long ago now, maybe 12 years ago, there was a TV show called Madhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And
I never watched it, by the way, but
it was so good. It was my favorite. I locked in every week. Yeah. And it was just guys racing at Bowman Gray every week in the modifieds, and it was outrageous. And if we get a little bit of that, I think it's going to be a good thing.
Like I said, NASCAR should pay bonuses for wrecking people. They really should.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah. Start fights.
Yeah. If you get in a fight, it's extra money.
I don't know how the racing's going to be. It'll be interesting.
I don't care. I want wrecks. I want chaos.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it should be about.
Seriously. I mean, it's a better track than the Coliseum track.
Gloves off.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they were doing it later in the year. I don't know if they can run this race at night. I don't know if they can.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
I hope so.
But yeah, honestly, this is what the Clash should have been to begin with. They should have done it here first before taking it to the Coliseum. But I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm excited about it. I'll be tuning in for sure. Like you said, I'd be there if I could be.
Yep.
But yeah, so there you go. Haas factory team made an announcement at Michigan International Speedway over the weekend. They announced their Xfinity Series lineup for 2025. Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer will compete full time in the 00 and 98 cars. I assume. I guess I don't think they.
No, I think it's numbers. 40. I think they're actually going to run a 41 car.
Okay.
From what I saw, 00 and the 41.
There you go. So that gotcha. So that would be why Riley Herbst tweeted out RIP 98. Gotcha.
Yep.
Joe Custer said they are. Well, first of all, Joe Custer said that they expect to dominate next season, and if they do not dominate next season, it's his fault.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to.
To me, I feel like I realize Sheldon Creed doesn't have the stats. Sam Mayer doesn't have the stats. I think the talent is there. I personally, when they made this, so little inside baseball, I was in the media center waiting for this announcement. This was kind of the one I was most excited about because we really didn't know. I mean, there wasn't much out there about who it was going to be.
Yeah.
There were a lot of beliefs that Haley Deegan was going to be the one of them, but obviously we didn't see Haley Deegan at the track, so everybody pretty much assumed that wasn't going to happen. Right. So I actually went to the bathroom before the announcement, and came out of the bathroom. You know how the media center is laid out in Michigan. There's the lobby there in between, and I come through the lobby and there's a group of people there, and they wave me over. They're like, "We're supposed to." They said, "Is this the media center where they do the media announcements?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, we're here for the Sam Mayer announcement at 11:30." Where are we supposed to be? And I'm like, oh, really? Sam Mayer announcement, huh? So I knew then that Sam Mayer was on the list, but didn't know who the second driver was going to be. And when they come in, obviously before they do the announcement, they come in the media center and they stand off to the side. And I look over there, it's like, that's Sheldon Creed. That's Sheldon Creed. And I'm like, holy crap. This is like, to me, this was a statement that's saying that this Haas factory team is not just a team that I kept around to give my son a chance to race, type of thing. We're really going to compete. We're really going to continue to grow drivers with this organization. Again, I know these two don't have the stats to back that up, but I feel like they have the potential talent to back that up. Not only that, but it's a multi-year agreement for both of them. Sounds like the expectation is likely that they'll be in the Xfinity series for the next couple of years. So they'll get a chance to grow more in the series in a stable position, which Sheldon Creed hasn't had. Which, you could argue either way. Sheldon Creed hasn't, I don't think, left a team on good terms yet, ever. So maybe there's an issue there. But
I wonder what's going on with Gibbs that he couldn't stay.
I don't know. But I think this says something about what they're planning on doing.
I just don't know. What's the direction of this team?
Yeah. Well,
is it just to be a good Xfinity Series team and see what you can do?
Well, here's the thing too, James, is only one charter is spoken for of the four at Stewart Haas.
Right.
Obviously, nothing's going to happen until the agreement is reached, but nobody knows for sure where those charters are going. And Joe Custer was asked about the charters, and he said nothing to announce with regard to them.
Yeah.
Could they keep more than one? Could they have a spot for one of these guys to jump into the Cup Series?
I just don't. If they were planning on that, wouldn't they have put a driver out there for the second one by now for the Cup Series?
I don't know. Maybe they're going to rotate these two guys for the year in there.
They could, but why would you charter it then?
Because you're guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, but for what? What's the purpose of it though? You're not getting a playoff position. You're not competing for owners' points either.
Yeah. That's true.
So that charter's going to lose value.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
how much value do those charters have right now.
Well, they don't have any value right now, so they're meaningless at this current point. They don't mean anything.
But
nothing means anything.
Very interesting to me. I think this shows that they're going to at least be competitive in the Xfinity Series. I think it's a big signing. I think these two could have had other options. Honestly, I think both. In the right situation, both could have had Cup options, and I know you're going to roll your eyes at me, especially for Sheldon Creed, who hasn't won in the Xfinity Series yet.
I don't agree with the Creed. May or maybe.
I'm not saying guaranteed. I'm saying in the right situation could potentially see a move to the Cup Series. He's not.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Sam
there's no
Mayer's
room
more
in
ready than Sheldon Creed is, but
there's
Sam
no
Mayer's not
room-
ready.
I'm looking at the board, and there's no room at Chevrolet for either of these guys, especially Sam Mayer. Like, you're just going to continue to run at JR Motorsports, or you got to get out.
Yeah.
And then at Toyota, like, where's Sheldon Creed going to go? There's no Toyota seat available. Once Chase Briscoe got the 19, it was curtains for any other opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Well, and then the other one is the other news that was not quite broken in this press conference was that Joe Custer said that they're batting 100% in Xfinity drivers moving to Cup.
yeah,
Which there's an Xfinity driver that hasn't made a Cup announcement yet, but it's largely rumored to be going to 2311 next year, and that's
Yeah.
Riley Herbst. So it looks like he just confirmed that. At least he's going to the Cup Series.
so far, yeah.
So again, another Toyota driver another Toyota spot that's filled. So
Yeah, you got 2 Ford guys taking 2 Toyota seats.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, very interesting. Like I said, I thought this ended up being the big news of the weekend as far as announcements. There were several on the list, but this one was the one that turned out to be a big deal. Of course, Richard Childress Racing announced Dow extending their sponsorship. That's a big deal for us personally, as you know, we're in
We
a
live
Dow
right
area.
The shadow of Dow.
Yeah, we live in the smoke plume. So
And downriver.
yeah,
Don't forget
exactly,
downriver,
exactly. Don't drink the water, but yeah. So, but I mean, I again thought this was a big deal. I was excited about this announcement, and good on those two for getting a good deal. Like I said, multiple years for them.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta continue to move up, right? So,
I mean, Sheldon Creed's been on 1-year deals for how long? And that's a good deal for him to have multiple years.
Well, right, and you go to Haas Factory, and you're not the 3rd or 4th guy on a team anymore. You're one of the big dogs.
Yeah.
Right away. So, yeah, we'll see
Have
what they can do.
Are you aware? Have they announced their manufacturer?
I believe it will still be Ford. I
I-
did see that they're gonna have to lay off about 300 people.
Yeah, I saw that too.
in the change.
'Cause
But
I just was curious because somebody mentioned something about Fords, and nobody really said Ford or any. I mean, I know that there's dwindled support there from Ford to begin with, so I just
Yeah.
wondered if maybe they were going to think
Well,
about
I think
changing
if they
manufacturers.
and I think that's the thing is if they have one Cup car, the Ford support can stay
Yeah.
on.
That's true.
Yeah, they said they're going to go down to about 100 employees, which is going to be interesting. So that's 100 employees for one Cup team and 2 Xfinity teams. That seems about right. Is that
Yeah.
about right? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff still to be learned with how they're gonna structure the organization, but I know they're working on it. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
There you go. Very interesting announcement. We found out today that Lee Diffie is officially taking over the NASCAR Cup Series broadcast
Yeah,
for
so waiting
NBC.
Lee Diffie.
What's that?
I've been waiting for Lee Diffie to take over.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be playoffs. It's a little bit early, starting with Daytona this weekend. Rick Allen will move over to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he will move to CW next year with the Xfinity Series all season. Thoughts on this?
How's Rick Allen feeling about all that?
So yeah, that's my concern. Like if Rick Allen is down for this, if he's happy with this move, that's a good move then. But if he's not, he's not the greatest announcer in the world, but he's certainly a very acceptable announcer. He does a good job. He does better than a lot of announcers that we've seen come through. And I prefer Rick Allen's broadcast to the Fox broadcast in general.
Right.
So,
I agree with that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree with that.
So if this is a demotion for him, if he's unhappy with this, then that sucks. I mean, that's a big bummer for him, and I feel terrible for him. If he's happy about it, then good for him. I rode in an elevator with him this weekend. I guess I could have asked him, but didn't think it was appropriate.
Yeah, it might be sour grapes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was me, him, and Jeff Burton in the elevator. That was interesting. So,
Oh, how's the mayor?
I didn't talk to him either. I just kind of just chilled. I just do my thing. If it was Junior in there, I'd say something, but
Did you get any nuggets of information out of him?
nah, they didn't talk. They didn't talk at all. No,
What, they got friendly on the elevator?
they just, we ended up packed in there. It was after the race was called on Monday. So everybody just
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
go home.
Yeah, of course.
But I also rode in the elevator with Brett Griffin. Didn't have the guts to say something to him. Freddie Kraft was in the press box and didn't have the guts to say anything to him. TJ was up top when I came in. I didn't say anything to him. I failed this weekend. It was just bad stuff.
Well,
I lost my confidence. You heard the story about why I lost my confidence. I'm not talking to you on the podcast.
Once your confidence got shook from earlier in the week, yeah. Well, you were talking about how you were in the media center, walked out of the bathroom, and you got some news.
Yeah.
I was in the media center one year and walked out of the bathroom, and it was just me and Kyle Larson
Yep.
and his PR rep. It was just the three of us, and I walked out, and he's shoveling pizza in his mouth after winning at Michigan. And I was like, do I take a picture of Kyle Larson shoving pizza in his mouth right now? And I did.
Yeah.
I did. So, yeah, if it makes you feel any better.
Good on you for taking the initiative.
Yeah. And I think I Instagrammed or tweeted it out. I was
Nice.
like, Kyle Larson's just like us, shoving pizza in his mouth.
Good stuff.
That was young money back then. Now he's like, well, I can't say what
You could say hung money. It's okay.
I can say hung money?
You
Okay,
can
he's
say hung money.
now.
We just
he
don't
went from young money to hung money.
We won't talk about why. Listen to DVC this week. That call is worth it. Just that. It's so good.
Yeah,
and there's a
I saw
T-shirt. So
I saw the clip.
so good.
I know. I giggled. I was like, okay, that was funny.
Really good call. Really good call. I wish we got calls. People call us.
Well, I tried and I failed spectacularly.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're my black flag this week.
Could be. Could be.
Only other news item, we got potentially a sneak preview of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series schedule over the weekend. If you missed it, NASCAR Latino tweeted it out on Twitter or X, and apparently, according to Adam Stern, it's handled by one of NASCAR's vendors, and NASCAR says it's not entirely accurate, which likely means they haven't confirmed these dates for sure yet.
Yeah.
But interesting things on here, James. I mean, most of it we kind of already knew, but what about Michigan moving to June?
Michigan to June, the day after or the week after Mexico City.
Yeah, you know what? June in Michigan is going to be hot, but it's going to feel like freaking winter after racing in Mexico City in June.
Well, and that's listening to Jeff and Jordan on the teardown. Jordan said the Mexico City thing is the reason the schedule is not out yet. So I'm assuming that they're still trying to get that figured out. So yeah, it's gonna be quite the trek. They're gonna go from Nashville to Mexico City to back to Michigan.
It's gonna be a hot stretch. What are your thoughts on the Mexico City race, James? Should we be doing this?
I was hoping for Canada, but
yeah, me
I
too.
understand NASCAR's got a. So Daniel Suarez, here, let me put the dominoes in front of you, and you go ahead and knock them down for me.
Right.
Daniel Suarez, who's been okay, right? He's got a win this year. He's in the playoffs. He's been okay for Trackhouse.
Yeah.
Signs a 1-year extension. Okay.
Yeah.
Why does he sign a 1-year extension? Well, because NASCAR's working on this Mexico City race. You got to have him in a high profile ride at least for one more season to have the hometown kid come back to Mexico City, and then perhaps Trackhouse will make their own decisions from now on. I'm just putting some breadcrumbs out there. Is that too much?
I am
too far?
so not prepared. I wish I had the Twilight Zone theme ready to play right now.
I'm trying, I'm just kind of putting that out there for you. Just whatever you think about that, however you want. But Trackhouse had some options to bring in some other drivers, and they brought him back for one more year. So I just thought that was interesting. That's all. Conspiracy Jim.
I'm in favor of international races, but also feel like we've got still some tracks in the U.S. that I'd like to be racing on.
I just wish we went to Montreal instead. I really like that race.
I
really like that track.
Like we have Road America, which was a great track. I realize it's long as crap and that sucks, but go back there. We've got Kentucky sitting there and with weeds growing up. Go back to Kentucky. We got Rockingham, which we've heard rumored maybe coming back in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series during the Easter break next year.
Take Coda off the schedule if you're going to go to Mexico City.
Yeah.
Give us something else.
I mean, I wonder, like, is it worth it to chase the international viewer or international fan with one race? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just negative this week, but I'm not excited. I'm not excited about Mexico City because if they put the chicane back in that they had with the Xfinity Series, it at least makes it interesting. But that track just was not compelling. But you're right. Daniel Suarez alone will sell that place out.
Yeah, he's going to come home. He's going to be the hometown hero. I think it's a smart play. You've got a guy with international talent.
It's like when Jack Villeneuve was running in the Xfinity Series and they raced in Canada.
Exactly. The track named after his pops.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong. He will sell the track. He will be plastered on every poster. He will sell the place out. You're not wrong there.
We've got a nice mix of tracks here. I hate that we're going back to Phoenix for the championship, but we've already talked about that. The
Yeah.
playoffs don't shake up very much. We got worldwide technology coming in.
Yeah.
But we go back to normal. Daytona ends regular season again, which I'm in favor of. So
We do have Bristol as a cutoff race. That's interesting. That's compelling.
yeah, and Talladega in the round of 8.
Yeah,
is
that's
interesting.
really compelling.
Yeah, because you go Vegas, Dega, Martinsville, which
Yeah,
is
That's
really
a stretch,
interesting.
man.
That's going to be really tough. I do like the balance of the rounds because you go Darlington, St. Louis, Bristol, New Hampshire, Kansas, Charlotte. Yeah, New Hampshire moving into the playoffs. We should mention
Yeah.
that. Vegas, Dega, Martinsville. I think those are pretty interesting combinations of tracks. So,
Yeah, you really have some tracks that are set up to shake things up. I mean, obviously New Hampshire has potential for that bump and run, that sneaky move controversy.
Yep.
St. Louis, same way. Darlington's just Darlington. Bristol, of course, Bristol.
Yep.
You know, and you got Kansas and Las Vegas mixed in there as the mile and a half, which are great. Talladega, you know, always is amazing. Martinsville, hopefully, you know.
I'd be okay if they finalize the schedule.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, okay, this is good.
Did I was already thinking about something different. Did you mention the one Richmond race?
One Richmond race.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one
That's
Richmond.
where Mexico City comes in. Mexico's taking
Yep.
Richmond out.
Back to Iowa, Indy on the oval again, which I think
Chicago.
should just be set in stone.
Chicago Street's on there. Atlanta
Yeah.
has 2 dates again, but they're mixed up again. They go from the second full race of second regular season race of the year, and then also in the end of June.
And I believe
Atlanta.
both those dates are already confirmed, are they not? I know the summer one is.
Yeah, they're pretty much locked in. We knew they were coming out of the playoff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michigan going back to June is going to be really fun. I
I
love that.
really like that move. The weather's definitely better. I mean, it's
It'll be
rained
better.
both times.
It's going to be
but
hot, but it'll be
yeah.
better.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm in air conditioning at Michigan, so.
Well, there you
Sorry,
go.
guys. Remember that thing when I said about care about the fans? Yeah, I don't.
And it moves
sorry.
off my vacation, so
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in play. I'm in play
Right.
again.
You mean you're gonna go?
Maybe.
Wow. You're gonna be back
Yeah.
at the track?
I know. Might come back.
Wow. Interesting.
I know. Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. Right. So no, I like the mix. I hope this ends up
Yeah.
being our schedule. If you haven't seen it, it's on our on the show notes, thesuperspeedway.com. You can check those out. So
we have some possible breaking news this week. We've got RCR obviously coming out tomorrow. We're gonna know
Yep.
we're gonna know the answer to that, and then any day maybe the schedule, or it could be in a month. So we shall.
Jordan
see.
didn't seem confident it was going to be this week.
Yeah, he did not. He did
The
not.
other
He's
the other
tapped in.
interesting tidbit is we were having a bunch of us were having a discussion about the schedule in the press box on Sunday with Jeff Gluck sitting right next to us, and he didn't chime in at all. So I don't know. I don't know if that says anything.
He just doesn't want to be seen with you. That's all.
Probably, I'm sure that's probably what it is. I don't blame him. All right, well, let's move on to checkered flags. James, you got any checkered flags this week?
Oh man.
I got a bunch. I got a long list for each of
Well,
them.
Okay, I'll get out of the way quickly.
Well, I guess I don't have a long list for black flags.
Yeah,
but-
I'll do this here. This will be my checkered flag for the
Okay.
week. I have 2 really quick. I'll do 2. The first one I'll do the funny one first. I messaged you in our group chat, you and Todd, asking to send a picture, and in my head, and like in my imagination, I was like, you know what? They're gonna send me pictures of each other, and I'm gonna cackle about it because it's gonna be great. And sure as enough, I got a picture of each of you, and I just laughed. I was like, this is exactly what I pictured in my mind. That was so good. So I wanted to shout you guys out for that.
That's funny.
And then I'll take the somber one. Shout out Scott Bloomquist.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I
The
forgot
legend.
to list that.
Yeah, he passed away tragically this week, and Tyler Reddick kind of won in his honor. You know,
Yeah.
kind of was one of the drivers that Scott took under his wing. But what a legend! What a legend!
Love
I
him or
mean,
hate him, and a lot of people did either one or the other, but he was a legend.
Polarizing guy. Yeah, he was a polarizing guy. And I was fortunate to see him wheel it a couple of times. One of the times was with you at the
Yeah.
Mud Summer Classic back in Eldora, the very first one. He was driving for Kyle Busch.
Yep.
And he thought he could set the truck up better than anybody else, and
Right. Didn't
was,
work.
complete the wrong way. But he was still what a legend. I mean, that picture of him getting out of his late model is one of the great sports photos of all time, with his hair flowing in the wind and the American flag in the background.
Yeah, there's
Just a-
certain people that just
They're just polarizing, man.
well,
One.
they're just bigger than the sport they're a part of. You know, Michael
Yes,
Jordan
you
with
don't-
basketball.
Yeah.
You know, Dale
Yeah.
Earnhardt for NASCAR. Dennis Anderson and
Woods.
Monster Trucks, Tiger Woods. They're the people that even if you don't watch a sport, you know the name,
You
and
know the
people
name.
knew Scott Bloomquist's name.
You knew that, yeah. You knew the name. You knew the zero.
Yep.
You knew Bloomquist.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, shout out Scott Bloomquist. What a sad story. But regardless, a legend. He will not be forgotten.
Yeah.
By any means.
This is the part about getting old, which I know it wasn't an old age thing for him, but it's the part about getting old that nobody tells you about is all of the legends around you passing
all
away.
the people around you start to cut. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's very sad.
It's depressing.
It is. But we have the memories of what a immense talent he was. Hey, I dare say he was probably the best dirt late model race car driver of all time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's he's the guy. So
yeah. Well, thanks for bringing us down, James.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I had to put it in the show somewhere. He needs to be mentioned. So
no, totally. I'm glad you did.
We'll take it. I'll take it.
Any other checkered flags?
Nope. You go for it, man. You get into your list.
All right. So starting out, we'll put it back to a positive note. NASCAR Chasm on X. NASCAR Chasm has been a gem all along for years on social media. But boy, was he on it this weekend. I was having a blast following his tweets from this race. The tweet out of the front of Reddick's car after the caution saying that he has an unhappy meal. Everything was good. It was pure gold this weekend on NASCAR Chasm's account. So if you missed any of it, check it out for sure. Speaking of good social media accounts, Colleague Racing's Twitter account was pretty awesome this weekend as well.
They were good this week.
Great job with those guys.
They must have somebody new in charge.
Yeah, something. Maybe NASCAR Chasm. I don't know.
Could be. They were good.
But yeah, that was good stuff.
The leaf blower was classic.
Yes. The thing with NASCAR Chasm that gets me is it doesn't matter what it is. He's got something funny to say about it. Like, I don't know how anybody can be on like that all the time, but he is.
Yeah, I know.
So good.
That's crazy.
So good. And he's got stuff going on in his personal life and stuff too. So I feel for the dude. And just great that he still can do that.
He's got it.
And he gave me a high five after I complimented him this weekend, so that was cool. Not in person, just a Twitter high five. So
Twitter high fives count.
Yeah. Just wanted to shout out real quick, partially because he shouted me out on his podcast this week, but also because it was fun hanging out with him, especially on Sunday, waiting in the rain, and a bit on Saturday. Brandon Crowd with the Lap Traffic Podcast. Got to hang out with him, as we do every year at Michigan International Speedway.
Good dude.
So that was fun. Yeah, very good guy. Bummer he left before they went green on Sunday and was not able to come back on Monday. So he didn't get to see any of the Cup race, but he was up there for the Xfinity race and all that, and got to hang out with him much this weekend. So that's always fun. And lastly, I got to shake Chris Wilner's hand from MRN Radio over the weekend. I listened to him on Davey Siegel's podcast, Victory Lane, where he talked about his origin story and getting involved with MRN and the stuff that he does. I really enjoyed the podcast, so he was over by me in the media center, so I went and shook his hand and said that I enjoyed it and introduced myself to him and got a chance to chat with him for a minute. So those guys at MRN, they're all the best in the business. They're amazing. And any chance I can compliment them for the work that they do, I take that opportunity because they're amazing. So,
dude, I was listening to them on the NASCAR app, and as I was putzing around on Monday, and it's just, I mean, they've got it.
They're so good.
Got it down. Yeah,
so on Friday, I think it was, I'm sitting in the media center, and Pete Pistone, I know you have your things with Pete Pistone, but Pete Pistone's sitting right next to me. Mike Bagley sits down next to him. They're sitting there chatting. I'm basically getting a free version of the morning drive right next to me. It was fun. It was cool. I didn't talk to him, but cool. I just sat there and appreciated the fact that I'm sitting right next to these guys listening to them talk. And they have their MRN voice. That's their voice. That's, you hear when I love it.
I know, they're the best.
Absolutely love it.
They're the best.
And unlike the TV guys who are over in the TV compound, the MRN guys are in the media center all the time, so you get to hear them all the time.
Just tapped in. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So there you go. Those are my checkered flags. Any black flags for you, James?
Twitter was really bad this week. Yeah,
that's mine too. But go ahead.
I'll let you talk about Michigan. Well, we already talked about Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan got blasted enough.
Michigan, so yeah, I know. Man, I was trying to follow along, and it's just crap. I don't know. Musk is making it worse by the day.
Yeah,
that's all. I can't find anything anymore.
As I said in the podcast yesterday, I paid extra for Twitter Pro, which is still called Twitter Pro, despite the fact that Twitter is X. Which that leads you to understand how much they've actually worked on Twitter Pro, which was once TweetDeck and the greatest product ever in Twitter. So I paid for this, and because I like to have a column with hashtag NASCAR, and I have another column with some whatever search term, and I have all my replies. So everything's in a column right there, and I can see it right in front of me, so I can talk with people during the race. And I don't do it normally because normally I don't watch races live, as you mentioned earlier, but during the race when I'm there, I like to tweet out and talk with people and have conversations. So one of the things that it was doing, the most annoying thing it was doing, is you click the little button to type your message. You type your message in, you hit tweet or send or whatever, and it posts. And then you click that button to send your message again, and it pops up, and your old message is still there. And you have to delete your old message before you can put a new message in every effing time. And it was infuriating. And I would go back to regular Twitter to see it, and that didn't do that. But then you have to manually refresh because it doesn't automatically flow through. Twitter Pro is supposed to automatically flow through, but half the time it doesn't, and you still have to refresh, or you have to keep scrolling back up, even though it's supposed to stick to the top. I just want
to see the stuff from people I follow. I see more from things I don't follow than I do from what I follow now. And
I'll tell you what, when you pay for Twitter, you get less of that. I'll give you that. I'll give them that.
Let me tell you this. I'm scrolling Twitter right now, just keeping an eye on the news. I just now saw Jeff Gluck's Quiet Track Michigan picture for the first time.
Nice.
That was almost 48 hours ago.
Was his better than mine?
His is pretty good. Yours is good.
I didn't
say his is better.
I didn't hashtag Quiet Track this week because Jeff was there, so I wasn't going to steal it from him. Not that I steal it from him, but you know what I mean.
He's got it.
Yeah. That's his thing. I like to do it because it's fun to be out there. So I was very frustrated with it, and I would have just not done it, but that's what I do during the race. It's fun. I enjoy it. So there you go. That's my black flag. I already mentioned Michigan and their crap, so there you go. Short track corner. I'll run through this really fast, James. I don't even have it in the notes, but the Jeg Sea All-Star Series has the Dixie 100 at Birch Run Speedway on Friday. Friday evening, that'll be a fun show. The Reveal the Hammer Late Model Series is at Owasso Speedway on Saturday. I believe racing starts at 6 o'clock at Owasso, but don't hold me to it. Go to their website and check it out. And then Sunday, Owasso has the Michigan 200 ASA race that was scheduled for last Saturday, which was rescheduled due to weather. And they actually have a few more cars on the entry list. So I think they had 24 on the last entry list I saw. So I'm going to try and at least get out there for that. I might go out. I'm going Friday, obviously, because it's Jegs. But I might try to get there all 3 days this weekend and watch lots of short track racing. So good weekend for short track racing in mid-Michigan.
Fantastic.
Let's see. It is time to preview next weekend. Daytona International Raceway. Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That is the scheduled time. Who knows what time the rain will let it start. Saturday is the Wawa 250 presented by Coca-Cola. Or Friday, 7:30 p.m. on USA for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And the Truck Series is back in action this weekend as well. On the top part of the country with the Liuna 175 at the Milwaukee Mile. Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. James, you get to pick first, even though you technically picked first last week, but you get to pick first this week for Daytona. Who's your pick for the big race? And what do you think we're going to see in this race?
Well, we're going to see a lot of interesting strategy, half throttling, gas saving. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it right now.
I do too, but the last stage will be good.
That's it. I hate what stage racing has done to the super speedway package now that teams have figured it out.
Yep, I agree.
But
I think we'll see chaos. I think the last stage is going to be insane.
There's a handful of drivers who need points.
Yes.
And there's opportunity to be had for drivers who want to try to go out there and get some points.
Denny Hamlin pointed this out this week in the media center, by the way. He basically said, not for Daytona necessarily, but he basically said that you're better off racing for the stages, get your stage points in the first 2 stages, and then whatever happens in the last stage, at least you've got the points. But anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's what's going to happen at Daytona. So I'm looking at, when I say that, I'm looking at you, Bubba Wallace, specifically. You may not win the race, but if you can go out there and win 2 stages, that's going to change the picture. So
you're picking points getter?
I'm going to pick the points getter. I'm going to say, Bubba Wallace, go out there and get your points, man. Go get your points, and then worry about the win in stage 3.
Okay.
So go out there and lead. Go lead, Bubba. Go try to win the damn thing.
All right. I'm going to do the opposite of you, and I'm going to pick the race winner.
Okay.
Because I think that there is going to be every teeny tiny minute little detail possible put into this one race.
I have an idea of where you're going with, because I was thinking about it.
One team who's really good on super speedways historically, and a driver that has won this race before, and I'm going with Kyle Busch as my pick.
Yep, that's what I was going to do. I was going to take him.
This is his best chance to extend the streak.
His last best chance.
And
yep.
it is win or go home. Checkers or wreckers for Kyle Busch. It don't matter what else happens. Kyle Busch will ride at the back of the field for the first two stages, and you won't even know he's there.
He is so far back on points, it does not matter.
Yep.
He just needs to go win the race.
Yep. You will not see him get a single point or be anywhere near sniffing the top 10 in the first two stages of this race.
If
he does, he's stupid.
I all but guarantee you, with 5 laps to go, he is going to be in the top 10.
Yep.
Hunting for that win.
So will his teammate, but I like Kyle better than Austin in this.
Well, and if he gets wrecked out, that's that's par for the course. But regardless, yep.
I think this is the best chance for them, and RCR is going to put everything in it.
Yep.
Honestly, I think the only thing they really should do is put Lucas Oil on the car because he seems to run damn good in that car.
He's good in that car. Yeah, we should have known he'd be better at Michigan too because he won the dang thing at Auto Club.
Yeah.
So
they're not the same though. He said that.
Yep, I know.
He said he loved Auto Club and he hates Michigan. So
well, he
didn't outright say he hates Michigan, but
he's had such bad luck at Michigan. Michigan and New Hampshire.
I would hate it Michigan if I was him.
Favorite. Yeah. I hate it too. Yeah.
We don't need to talk about Fantasy League, right? We can skip over that.
Fantasy League. Yes. Well, nobody does Michigan better than me. I feel like I win Fantasy League.
Oh my God.
It's my home track. I must protect my turf, right?
Oh my God.
Eric, you were so close.
What did I end up getting?
I won.
Did I get
199
second?
Points. Eric, you were second, 188 points.
So let me guess. You either benched Kyle Larson or you didn't have him.
Oh, I benched him.
Okay.
But I benched him for Bubba Wallace. So.
Okay, so I didn't have him.
Yeah.
And I had Joey Logano and Bubba Wallace.
Oh yeah.
And I dumped Joey.
I think that's what got everybody. I didn't have Joey in my lineup.
Yeah, when I dumped Joey, let me put it this way. I had Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, and Chris Buescher. And I took Chris Buescher out, and I'm watching the laps tick down, and I heard the radio say, I heard NASCAR tell the teams that the 22 is going to be going backwards down pit road to the garage, and I'm like, oh, take Joey out.
Yep. I went hard on Blaney, Brad, and Reddick, and then I had Byron and Bubba, and that's what did it for me.
I almost picked. So I listened on the way into the track on Sunday. I listened to Brendan Gaughan's show on Sirius, and they were talking about odds. And 2 drivers he mentioned that I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go add them. Was Chase Elliott, which I'm glad I didn't, and Tyler Reddick.
Well, he was good until the last. Yeah. Yep.
Tyler Reddick I was going to add, and I forgot because I got stuck in traffic. Yeah. And by the time I got to the media center, I was so frustrated I didn't go back in and change
for
it.
You if you had Tyler Reddick.
I know.
Too. But now that's the thing.
I don't know who I would have taken out though.
I've been trying to stretch my starts, so I am out now. I am out of Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick, but I've been kind of positioning them, knowing what tracks I need to get to get to the playoffs.
I saved Denny for this weekend.
Well, and I saved
one
Tyler
start
Reddick
for him.
Yeah, I saved Tyler Reddick for this weekend, but I've been using him a lot because he's been on such a hot streak. I can't take him out of my lineup. So.
See, I'm out of Larson starts partially because I had him in when I forgot to pick.
I had Larson. I have one Larson start left, so I'm going to save that probably for Darlington, just as an example. Daytona is going to be a crapshoot.
I think Larson's the only one I'm out of.
Yeah, I'm out of 2 of them now, but I've been going really hard, and it's paid off for me. So if I look at the overall standings, Cole Custer's last stand falls from 1st to 3rd. Green Eggs and Hamlin goes to 1st. I go to 2nd. Now, it's the 3 of us kind of under a blanket here. Hamlin's up 12 points on me, and then I am 4 points ahead of Cole Custer. So between the 3 of us, it's been getting close. Now we're very, very close. So and then Team Justin's not too far behind. He's at 44, 49. Ranger not too far back. He's 5th. But yeah, it's I was having such a terrible season. I can't believe I'm in the mix at this point. But that was a good race for me. I hope I can get through Daytona and keep it going here. So
yeah, well, I'm so far behind that when we hit the playoffs, I'm just going for wins.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I want to be in the mix every year. And when I was down there in 6th, I was so like frustrated. I'm like, I can't figure out how to get back in the hunt, and all of a sudden I'm back in the top 3. So
what's that like to be in the mix? I think I've only been in the mix for like 4 races
ever
the entire time.
It stresses me out. I hate it. Honestly, I hate it because every year I'm in the top 2 or 3 every single season.
If you knew how much of my weekend revolves around trying to get to live by the end of stage 2, You would laugh considering how poorly I do in this fantasy league.
Yeah, the fantasy thing stresses me out. I really don't like it, but
I would never watch a race live if it wasn't for the fantasy league.
Well, I feel like this burden because of the podcast, because every year, like,
well, yeah, me too.
Remember,
I'd quit if it wasn't for the podcast.
Well, before I won the championship that one season, I was second every single year, and then last year, we all got our butts kicked so bad by Barron, it didn't even matter, and I think I finished second to him. So I'm like, I feel like I have to be in the mix now every year, and it's. Boy, it's not my favorite. I'm going to tell you, it's not my favorite thing.
The only benefit I have is that I don't stress out about our picks anymore because we don't keep track of them.
I know.
So at least I have that little bit of stress that's off my plate.
This drives me nuts. I
hate the fantasy league. Hate it.
I know.
James, where can people find you on social media if they want to hit you up during the week?
For now, you can get me at James Cush on X, but who knows if you can even find me at this point. So.
Yeah, I'm at T Super Speedway on X right now with a blue check mark. It won't last. It's going away. Trust me. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. Again, video from the weekend, interviews with some of the drivers, or at least video of them during bullpens. I have a few questions in there, but for the most part, I kind of let everybody else do their thing this weekend. Also wrote an article following the race, so I'm going to try and write some more stuff for the site. Maybe some columns, maybe something like a top 5 column, kind of like Gluck does, but not copying Gluck, but just something like that. Something that gets me writing every week, something opinion related on the site. So watch for that stuff. Hopefully there'll be more on there. TheSuperspeedway.com. You can find a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. You can also find the videos on our YouTube channel as well. Subscribe for new episodes of the podcast each week. And if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway and you're smarter than James, and you can figure out how to leave us an audio message, we'd love for you to do so, and we might even play it on the show next week or beyond. So DBC gets great calls. We'd love some calls, guys. Give us some calls. Leave us a review wherever you listen to us, as long as it's a good one. If it's a bad one, please don't. And all that. Share the podcast. We appreciate everybody who listens. Fun to be at the track this weekend. I don't think I'll be back at the track again this year. But we'll be back here every week, as always, to talk about what happened the past weekend. As a matter of fact, we'll be back next week to break down Daytona and the Daytona weekend. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.